Ranch in lovely Lola, Montana. I'm your ranch manager, Kelly. Thank you for joining me today at the Corral. Today at the Corral is inside. It is still freezing cold outside. The sun peeks out once in a while, but as you can see from my blue suit, James Wassom's hat and jacket all the time, it's really cold. I'm just watching the ranch cam there. You can see the little ones sleeping. Everyone is sleeping, and even one of the captains is down, enjoying the sun when it does peek out. So we're inside again today, and today, by popular demand, I'm going to talk about boots. Like most women in the world, I have a footwear addiction. Yes, I'm going to admit that right now. And I've had, over the years, hundreds of pairs of boots. It's down to just a few right now, and I want to go ahead and tell you about the different kinds, because there are a lot of different kinds, and it really makes a difference what you're wearing. So there are two basic styles of boots: English boots and Western boots. Now, English boots are worn when you ride English. And English style riding encompasses polo, dressage, saddle seat, arena jumping, cross-country jumping, flat work, all kinds of things. And there are boots specifically for English riding. Now you have, and then there are subcategories within English boots. You have tall boots and you have short boots. Believe it or not, there's all these different kinds of boots. So tall boots, what you're looking at right now is an English tall field boot. If you notice the laces, that's what makes it a field boot. Some, I think these do too, they zip up the back. They're easier to get in and out of, in other words. They're not as clean looking, although those are gorgeous. I bet those are $1,000 or so. They're beautiful, they're comfortable, and tall boots go up to the outside of your knee, and they're down a little bit on the inside. And there's a second kind of tall boot, and that's called a dress boot. And dress boots do not have zippers, they do not have laces. And they are very clean, very showy, and that's what you would wear in a horse show, for example. Dressage, I think you can jump in field boots. Now, and you have, for showing, you would wear a tall boot if you were an adult. And it's really a matter of preference whether you want a field boot or a dress boot, except that there are rules. English riding, and I imagine Western too, really strict rules about what you can wear in a show arena. So many times you can't wear a field boot when you compete, especially in an arena, as opposed to jumping out in the field, cross-country jumping. But otherwise, it's a matter of personal preference. So for more casual riding and for kids, you have what we call a paddock boot or a jodhpur. When I was young, these were called jodhpurs. And then we had a certain kind of pant that went with those. Anyway, these are paddock boots. They go by basically. These are a zip paddock boot. They also come in a lace-up. They're not formal. Unless it's a kind of a local non-graded show, you could probably show in these. And usually when you wear a short paddock boot, you would wear half shaps. And the half shap, in a way, takes the place of the tall boot. It's protection for the inside of your calf. It also prevents your pants from riding up, and there's nothing worse than having your pants all bunched up and you're trying to concentrate on your riding. English boots traditionally are black or brown. Now they come in gorgeous colors, blue. You can have kind of an animal hide print. There's two-tone, there's three-tone. They're called tricolor. English is pretty snotty. Shh. But I'm still kind of an English snot. I wish I had English boots. Anyway, so with English boots, you wear breeches. And I still have a pair of breeches here. These are English breeches. These are called full seat. You can see the full seat, it's a little grippier. And then down at the bottom, they taper and all the way down to your ankle, and so your boots or your half straps go over the top. And then you're all set. You're all set, you're real fancy. So the next thing I want you to do, I want to show you my boots that I ride in here at Dunrovin. And there's a different boot for the function that I am serving. This is just a small, they're so dirty. This is just, it's a small sampling. I have probably a couple of each kind, I think. I'm very lucky that I travel light these days because I could have hundreds. I could have hundreds of boots if anyone just wrote me a check and said go. So I'm going to start on your left, and those are called Packers. Now these are my favorite riding boot when I ride in my saddle, and I'll show you why. So this is a Packer boot. This is a Chippewa Packer, and you can see that it has a tallish heel. It has a slope in the back, has a rounded toe, and it's pretty tall. Now the reason I have to use this, this is called a kiltie, and this is what the sole looks like. It's not entirely smooth. It's got a little bit of a sole, and that's going to help keep me in the stirrup. Now, all proper riding boots, whether English or Western, have to have two main things: a heel and a smooth sole. And that's for safety. Those two things can literally save your life. When your foot's in a stirrup, you don't want it to slide forward through the stirrup. If your foot goes through like this, and this is the stirrup, and you come off your horse, or your horse takes off and you need to use your leg, you're done. You're a goner. That's why you don't have a heavy, aggressive hiking boot sole. It's also why you have a heel. Those two things will literally keep you alive. Now, I have to use this boot in my saddle because with other boots that I'll show you, in my stirrup, my foot will go right through if I didn't have this heel. There's a story that I don't know if it's true or not, but there's walking boots and there's riding boots. I've heard that walking boots go straight up and down, straight up and down here, and a riding boot is slanted. Now, the story I heard is Western boots have a slant, so if you have to come off your horse and slide to bulldog a cow, you can slide. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. Anyway, I love these. Now, a second pair I have are these. These, of course, you can see have a taller heel and a smoothish sole and a round toe. The toe is you can get into your stirrup quick. If I'm jumping up on my horse and I gotta throw my foot in that stirrup, it goes right in. It doesn't get hung up. And this one has a tall-ish shaft, and these holes in here are for pulling your boots up. This is also called a buckaroo boot. The shaft is wider, as you can see from the Packer. Can I get them both in here at once? Kinda. I'm trying to play with the camera, everyone. There we go. You can see a little bit of a difference there. And these you'll often see people with their pants kind of tucked in. That's because one, the pants won't go over the top, and two, because I think it's cool. So that's why sometimes I wear these and I don't have my pants over the top. I can use these in my stirrups. Now these boots you'll see are different. Okay, they have a tallish shaft. It's not a very wide shaft. It's not a buckaroo boot. It has a shorter heel, like a 1-inch heel, straight back. It does have a smoothish sole. When I got these, it had actually a leather sole that had just been worn through. So I loved the boots, and I had them resoled out here in Missoula with a rubber sole, which will hold up a lot better. These are Farini boots, and I got to tell you, these were a grief purchase. I knew when Doc was really sick, I had to do something, and I ran to Crazy Horse down the street, and I'm like, oh yeah, yeah. Now these are an Ariat, which is a boot, a brand of riding boots that are very high quality. For me, it's really the only boot to get. Everything else falls apart. But these are work boots, and can you tell why? You would never want to ride in these. So you can pipe on the chat if you think you know. I'll show you. They don't have a heel, or certainly not a big enough one that's going to keep you from going through a stirrup. And the sole is very aggressive. It's worn down. I don't think I'd get hooked up in that, but you absolutely could. I would never ride in these, ever. I'd rather ride barefoot, to be honest with you. These are Ariats as well, and these are riding boots. They look similar, I think. Sorry everyone, I'm getting used to the camera here. There you go. Now these look very similar, but these are riding boots. These are called all-terrain boots. They have a bit more tread, but not enough that's going to hang you up. They have a bit of a heel. So these are, Suzanne swears by these, and that's why I got them, and she's absolutely right. If you're riding out on the trail and you have to get off and walk your horse, or you have to get off and walk a guest's horse out, you do not want to walk very far in these. It's really uncomfortable. It's extremely uncomfortable. But these, you can walk forever. They're very nice. Now these boots you could wear with half straps, which I prefer to do. Because again, it just feels better to me. I think I'm just used to having something on my calf. And I have one more pair. Now these are an English style boot. Like a paddock boot, right? They've got a heel. They've got a not too aggressive sole. And I got this winter because I thought I'd be riding a lot in the winter, but it turned out that wasn't the case. So these have a fleece lining. They're by a company called Mountain Horse. They're excellent boots, and I would wear these with half straps as well. So even though they're basically an English boot, to me it didn't matter because I really wanted my feet to be warm. One more thing I want to share with you about boots is some people will tell you, and I bet they're right, that you don't want to ride in boots with laces, because laces could get you hung up in the stirrup as well. So my one concession to not safety are my packers, because they just feel good. I have ankle support. I've got enough heel to keep my foot from going through the stirrup. I have the right tread to help keep me in the stirrup but not hang me up. And they're cool because, sorry, I am a victim of that a little bit. I'm from California after all. So that is our boot lesson. I bet you didn't know that it really makes a difference what you ride in. We do ask our guests to wear boots when they come up. I ask that they have a heel and a smooth sole. Very few people can meet that requirement, because who walks around in cowboy boots? So a lot of people will come in something like this, or a little more aggressive even, and I just remind them that they're going to want to be sure that they're comfortable getting their foot out of the stirrup if they need to, and to not let their foot slide through. For riding in Western boots. Now, these are not riding jeans, and I'll show you why. One, although we do, none of this is a hard, fast rule. A lot of it's personal preference. So you can see the inner seam on these pants is thick, and boy, if you're out riding for a long time, you're going to get rubbed pretty good. That won't be comfortable. Also on the back is all kinds of bling. It's not smooth, it's really rough, and this will just put dents in the seat of your saddle, believe it or not. And a riding jean is meant to be ridden in. This is a pair of women's Wranglers, and there is no inner seam. It's flat. It's a very flat seam, and the pockets are plain, so it won't put dents in your saddle. I did make the mistake of riding in the other jeans in my saddle. I have a couple dents, but that's all right. Hope that answered all your questions about boots and a couple questions about jeans. Thank you for joining me today. It's nice to have you here with us. On behalf of James, I have a question. I love questions.
Yeah, where are your turquoise
Where's my turquoise?
pants or boots? Do you have turquoise boots?
Do I have turquoise boots?
I don't know.
I don't know. Do
GSBMO
I?
is asking.
Who's asking?
Where are the turquoise ones? GSBMO?
I'd love to have turquoise boots. Have I had turquoise boots? You must be reading my mind. I would love to have turquoise boots. I'm telling you, I can be extremely dangerous in this area. This area of things. I'm not exaggerating.
Yeah, I do have some questions.
Okay, now, and you know what's awesome is James always has questions. See if I know the answer.
Yeah, so first of all, it comes with guests coming to the ranch and riding, right?
Right.
Obviously, you get a lot of different kinds of people coming in. You mentioned this, that a lot of people can't meet those expectations necessarily, but is there any sort of overshoe or overboot type of thing that we can make a slick sole out of say a hiking boot? I wear hiking boots all the time if I'm out and about.
That's a great idea.
And I would show up here with that.
That's a great idea. Is there any kind of overshoe that would turn it into a riding boot? Not that I'm aware of. I know that if I put a rubber overshoe on a boot, it wouldn't slide. I can just like a galosh. That wouldn't work very well. And I'm thinking, boy, what an interesting idea to just have a sole with some straps on the top that you could strap to the top of the shoe, and maybe a little toe cap.
There you go, the next $1 million idea.
$1 million idea. Run with it. Well, we do have a container. We have a laundry basket of boots because very rarely people show up in flip-flops, and that's just not going to work. So we have boots and socks they can borrow. And also, if we ride across the river and it's high or we know we're going to get wet, we have dry socks for people to ride in, and then when they get back, they can put their own socks on.
The other question I had was on jeans. Two questions, actually. One is a little more vain, but people show up with all their bling on their breeches, right? Especially women, and so you've got all this potential for denting and all these other things that can, or even metal buttons or
yes,
snap.
the rivets.
I mean, that can really cause a problem, right?
It could. We let it go. The saddles are to be used for our guests. My personal saddle, Taylor is coming up again. Taylor borrowed my saddle and she put some dents in it. But I still love her very much. But once I got my saddle, I got rid of all my bling jeans except a couple.
And you mentioned something that I just learned today about the seam on the pants. I've noticed this for years because I'm kind of crazy with the details that way, and it annoys the heck out of me. But different brands of jeans have the seam on the inside or outside.
Absolutely.
Wranglers always had it on the outside.
And that's why.
On the inside.
And that's why. Because Wranglers, especially the MW13s, I think, are the pro rodeo jeans. Yeah, if you pay attention.
And they just look cooler.
Come on.
I don't know.
Yes.
The gold thread and the whole thing.
They're totally cool.
I'm looking at my jeans I'm wearing, and they're on the inside. It annoys me to death, but...
now you know.
But it could be rougher on the saddle or the horse. It just doesn't slide as smooth.
It doesn't slide. I mean, you can get blisters on the inside of your calves and thighs if you've got a seam. And
are there other jeans that are made for that are easier to get outside of a Western store or something?
You know, I don't know. I know that they do make more of a kind of a tight, guys wouldn't want that, but more of a riding tight that you can use in Western. I know that Wrangler makes riding pants. These are by a brand called Cruel Girl, which I try to, get all the Cruel Girl stuff I can. There's not a whole lot. Rocky makes a good riding pant. Yeah, I'm sure there's others, but there's your go-to. There are your go-to stuff. Something else I've learned is never cotton socks. Even in the summer, you want a nice wool blend, an expensive merino wool blend sock. Your feet stay a lot cooler. It's really a lot about comfort, because a rub or a blister or hot feet, and you have 6 more hours of your day, and that's just not on a guest ranch. If you're on a working ranch, you can't be miserable. You have to be comfortable. From the waist up, it's whatever you want, really. Yeah, you can express yourself from the waist up. Yeah,
That's probably safer anyway.
I think it's it is.
So, we do have a question about jodhpurs or riding breeches.
Yes.
Which, depending on who you are and what you call them, I know you referenced jodhpurs before as kind of the boots, but they've also, and I learned in high school or whatever as a vocabulary word, that jodhpurs were the actual breeches.
Yes.
But they're kind of used interchangeably.
They kind of are, and both of those are pretty old school. My understanding, when I was little, and I mean little, my pants were jodhpurs. They went, they went all the way down, and they had a cute little cuff here, and they went over your short boots, we call them now. And they also, I know a lot of you remember this, they were not made out of this material, and they ballooned out like this.
Oh, right.
And I have a little story. Is when I was still in Los Angeles, I was riding at a barn with all my friends. We all rode English, and I went on eBay and I actually got a pair of the huge balloon ones, and canary yellow, right? They were always canary yellow. And I show up at the barn, and the older people just loved it. It was hilarious. What was I going to? Oh, one more thing. Oh, why English boots are like they are. English riding started with cavalry in Europe. So the tradition, that's what they wore, and the tradition continues. A Mongolian riding boot is similar to an English. It's a little bit of a cross. But again, it's protection of your body.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's...
no more questions or comments?
Most of the questions, yeah.
Okay. Thanks for joining me today. I appreciate having your company inside in the warm ranch office. Today is Thursday at 2, which is always at the Corral. This Sunday at 2 is Diva training. We'll surprise you with something then. I believe we will have to be wearing our yarrow and vetiver and see what happens. Maybe we'll start the broadcast, James, outside the gate, and we'll walk in all scented up and see what happens. They'll probably foil our plans and do nothing, but we'll see about that. I think we should probably do some trailer loading if we can get through the snow.
Good luck.
Good luck. It's taller than the donkeys out there, you can see. And then the following Tuesday is Ranch Talk again. Thanks so much for keeping us company today. James and I say goodbye. Bye.